Okay, guys, sorry about that. That was actually not a fault on my end. Twitch decided to go offline right when I hit my end stream button, and when I hit the start stream button, it refused to go online. No, it was Twitch on everyone's computer, guys. Give me like 2 minutes while I set up the call with Gene, and then we will start and do a thing. Let me actually put you guys on that one. Let's see, is it working? Come on, give me the game. Yes, there we go. Okay, guys, so I'll be right back. Give me a couple of more minutes. Hey guys, say hello to Jean. Jean's with us. Let me actually put the Be Right Back screen off. There we go.
Hey everybody. Nice to
Are
be
you
back,
all,
lady.
Yeah. Are you guys all hearing Jean? Okay, say something again, Jean.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, they are hearing you loud and clear. Good, good. Awesome. Okay, so guys, we are. Well, I'm going to sell the fish. Bring it over here. I hope you guys have prepped your questions. We made some good money. That's nice. And Jean, let's start off with last weekend we had an update on Saturday, and we had a hot fix on, was it Monday evening, I believe. Could you tell us a bit about that update?
Well, we fixed a little problems with the reel overheating, as far as I remember. So
Yeah.
it's already what? Wednesday? Thursday? Today was what? Wednesday? Today's Wednesday, right?
Yeah, today's Wednesday.
I'm sorry, lady. I'm a little lost
With
in days.
time.
Trying to remember what we did yesterday, what happened the day before. Let me just open up Facebook, and I think I'll find it there. We've posted the updates, right? The patch notes.
Yeah. Yeah, I did the best patch notes on Saturday and Monday, late Monday was it for me when we had the hot fix.
Yeah, so basically we took care of that overheating on friction brakes with every type of the reel, be it bait casting or spinning reels. The difference between how good a reel works under when it gets overheated has been reduced. So it's also a positive thing, I guess, to our players.
Yeah.
What else? We had a little bug when we introduced pumping. Actually, at some point, we forgot to take out that the hooking move from the right mouse button. So for a couple of days, people were basically like getting fish out of the water, and if it was way too light, it would fly God knows where behind them. So we fixed that one.
Yeah, we actually indeed started to jerk fish out of the water at an extreme rate.
That's right. The character became a little stronger. The avatar, the guy holding the rod. Some predatory fish gain stamina, such as pike. Not pike, I'm sorry. Asp, salmon, and walleye.
Yeah.
And we increase a price, selling price for some of the fish that you catch when you're a lower level player. So people could, whoever starts just started the game, they would have a little a wider ability to play around with the different rods, so they can make more money, a little more, not a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that's about it.
And did you, by any chance, do anything with the bolo rods? Because ever since the patch, I am actually hearing a lot of folks saying that all of a sudden the bolo rods start to work properly.
I think that's a combination of things with the reels, with the character getting stronger, the pumping action, something went in, something went out. Uh, so my guess is if it's better, it's good.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Let's see, guys. Do you have any questions so far? I see you guys are talking about gym and whatnot. Or maybe, let's see. Baya asks how you are doing, Gene.
Tired as always, lack of sleep, but happy. And that we're moving on with the game, that we're introducing new stuff, or we're making new stuff. It's always good.
Yeah. Let's see. X-Lumpy says next 1 to 2 months, do we maybe get a German translation? Yes, Lumpy.
Something tells me it's gonna be a little sooner than that.
Yeah, exactly. Big Daddy, that's fun. Do the drink stack
Yeah.
up?
Big Daddy, I'm gonna have to come back on that question to you some other time. To be honest with you, I don't remember.
And Olina asks, how can I use mesh feeder rods? Method feeder? Do you mean that, Olina, or mesh feeder? I'm not sure what mesh feeder are.
It could either mean that actual feeder or the PVA stick. Whichever one you're talking about, you'll have to actually advance your character to that level. So if you want to use something that you can't right now, you have to catch more fish using that type of a setup. So if we're talking about feeders, you have to bottom fish. The more fish you catch, the better your character advanced with his abilities. Actually, I guess it's probably a good time, lady, to introduce what we were hoping to show the guys today.
Yeah, that's indeed a good thing. Okay, guys, so what I'll be doing is actually, let me get these rods out. Like I said before, we have something to show you guys, a surprise. And Steve, it does indeed involve a bit your question, but you're asking if we can release English earlier, even though it's not 100% finished. We're not going to do that, mate. We want our stuff to be properly 100% before we're going to release it. But like I said, we've got something. Now, give me 1 second to load it up for you guys. I'll be right back.
Okay, Jack, when you buy an extra long line spool, 350 or 500 meters, I can use it on multiple reels. No, Jack, you can't, at least not at this point. Once you use that line on a certain reel, that's it, it stays there until it's gone or until you change it. But they are more or less adjusted to the reel size, the spool size. So you have to double check the size of your spool and make sure you'll have enough line on it. So let's say if it's a 8,000 spool, you probably need like a 300, 350 meters on it instead of a 100 meter roll.
Okay guys, I've got everything set up on this end. I'll mute myself and Gene, because you guys are going to watch a video. Let's see. Here we go. And I'll put myself on mute. Have fun watching.
Howdy, pilgrims. This here's Kachi aka Lakaban. I'm here with a special edition of This Week in RF4. Oh, I'm excited. I'm so excited I could squeak. We have screen captures for you guys from the English language translation of RF4.
Okay guys, I need to pause this for a brief second, because I need to pump up the volume indeed. Volume is a bit soft. Let's see. No, not that one. Let me see. Crank this baby up.
And without further ado, let's get to part one of a series of videos that shall bring you many, many awesome goodies. Let's do this thing. So the first thing I'm going to be showing you guys here is the index page on the skill tab of information. As you can see,
Okay, sorry about that. We're gonna try it again.
howdy, pilgrims. This here's Kachi aka Lakaban. I'm here with a special edition of This Week in RF4 because, oh, I'm excited. I'm so excited I could squeak. We have screen captures for you guys from the English language translation of RF4. And without further ado, let's get to part one of a series of videos that shall bring you many, many awesome goodies. Let's do this thing. So the first thing I'm going to be showing you guys here is the index page on the skill tab of the player information. As you can see here, float fishing, spin fishing, bottom fishing, harvesting baits, making ground bait, and making lures. And today what I'm going to be showing you is the English translation of the float fishing skill tree. Woot! Without further ado, bye-bye! There we go. Alright guys, this is, as you can see, the skill tree for the float fishing skills. We're going to be starting with the top left skill, and we're going to work our way all the way across, and then down, and then all the way across again. So here we go without further ado. Fishing with a telescopic rod. This ability allows you to use a telescopic rod. This is a pretty simple and universal tackle perfectly suited for unhurried fishing in limited space. This ability develops along with the ability to fish with the bolognese rod. Now you'll notice that we can put up to 7 points in it, and each one increases our casting distance and accuracy as well as control of the fish. So these are all things that are affected by putting one of our available points into this. And with each one, it goes up by percentages, 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%, 25%, and so on and so forth. Next. Here, this one is using a rig with a fixed line. This ability allows you to use a float rig with a fixed line. Fixed line fishing technique. Next. Here we have using a hair rig. A hair rig is required for fishing with boilies and other large baits, which are attached next to the hook on a special hair. Now, as we are looking at our information on our fishing rods, you'll notice that up here at top center there's this little icon, and when we click on it, you'll see that this brings up a list of specialized riggings that we can use over the course of our fishing expeditions. And many of these things are unlocked by activation within the skill tree. Okay? When we get to a certain level, we're able to unlock that. That will open up some of these rigs. So for instance, the hair rig is what will allow us to start fishing with boilies. Alright, so back to it. Alright, here we go. Next. Now, using a spinning rod. So once this unlocks here, once we get to this point, we can invest up to 5 points in it. And as you can see, each point will increase our casting distance and accuracy with the spinning rod. Alright. Then, of course, we know the nefarious 30% in which we open up the bolognese rod. And this ability allows you to use a bolognese rod. A bolognese rod is similar to a regular telescopic rod, but is equipped with line guides and a reel seat, which enables long-distance casting and long retrieval with the current. This ability develops along with the ability of fishing with a telescopic rod. So as you can see, there are 7 points that are available to invest in this. And over on the left, fishing with telescopic rod also has 7 points, and they are a linked situation. Okay, that's very important to understand. They are linked. All right, let's move on. Bang. All right, here we go, using a bolognese rig. Now, you'll note that in our special rigs, we have these crazy looking long stem bobbers that are designed to resist the fast moving currents and boil of rivers, and that's a very specific bobber used with the bolognese rods. And as a result, this unlocks the ability to use them. And the 3-point investment here is the technique of fishing with a bolognese rod rig improves. The higher is the technique, the bigger is the chance of catching a trophy. All right, next, luminous floats. And this is, of course, our glowing bobbers. And this ability allows you to use glowing floats in the rig. A glowing float is useful for night fishing. And then moving on, we're going to move down a row and all the way left, using a slider rig. Based on a slider float, this rig enables you to fish with a float tackle at practically any depth. The technique of fishing with slider float rig improves. The higher is the technique, the bigger is the catch. Okay. And then moving on, fishing with a match rod. Now, this is the one I'm waiting for. Match rod is a necessary tool in the arsenal of a float fishing enthusiast that aims at catching a big trophy. It allows you to use a special long-range float called Waggler. All right, so as points are invested in this, of course, the casting distance and accuracy goes up. All right, moving on. Using a rig with a Waggler. Now, what is a Waggler? A Waggler is a particular kind of float. It's a very traditional float, and in fact, many traditional Wagglers were made out of a section of peacock quill. Now, a Waggler is a float that connects only via the bottom to the line, as opposed to the line passing through it like a lot of modern floats. It's a very specialized rig, usually on a Waggler. From your float going down, you've got one area that's got a couple of slip shots on it to have the weight to get your cast out there, but then farther down, just a short distance above your hook, you've got usually a single small weight. And that weight is kind of a transmitter of information, because as that float sits there and that weight hangs down, when a fish comes up and either brushes your line right at your bait or picks up your bait, the movement of that bottom shot causes your Waggler to waggle. It allows you to read it. It's a very sensitive float. I'm really looking forward to getting to those regular wigs. Now, next we have fishing. Oh, and by the way, of course, it's a adjustment to our Waggler casting distance that the points invested in that effect. So moving on, we have fishing with a sandwich bait. Now, a sandwich bait is, as the name implies, it's a collection of baits that are put together. So this ability allows you to hook two different baits together, making the so-called sandwich. Moving on, we then have the float rig, and this is a bait fish float rig, that's as simple as that. Taking something like a minnow, or in this case, in the game perch and things like that, putting them on, using them as bait, casting them out. And then moving on, we have this spirulino with a soft lure. Now, spirulinos are a little hard to describe. They're a specialized fishing float that allow you to cast out far, minimize the amount of visual impact that you're bringing to the fish, so that it's primarily seeing only your lure. There's specialized techniques to work them so that you can waggle them and all kinds of interesting stuff. This ability allows you to use this spirulino with a silicone or foam rubber lure. The rig includes a special spirulino float, an offset hook, and a lure. Spirulino enables fishing cautious fish from a long distance using small lures, which are difficult to cast long distances with an ordinary spinning rod. And they're a really interesting looking rig. Usually they're clear. Some of them you'll find are dyed blue to fade into the water. Some of them are clear to fade into the water. And I'll see if I can find a picture of a spirulino just to toss up on this, because it really is an interesting rig. It's something I've never used myself in real life. Definitely interested in seeing what it's all about in the game. But last but not least, we have spirulino with a lure. This ability allows you to use a spirulino with a classical lure or a wobbler. The rig includes a special spirulino float and lure, wobbler, spoon, spinnerbait. Spirulino enables fishing cautious fish from a long distance using small lures, which are difficult to cast long distances with an ordinary spinning rod. And this investing points into this. The technique of fishing with the spirulino improves. The better is the technique, the larger is the catch. And so as you can see here, just having this information put into English makes such a huge difference, because if you don't know what a spirulino is, you don't know what in the world you're looking at here. So even if you translate the word spirulino, no idea. But these lovely explanations and all this English, I'll tell you what, information straight to my brain, makes me happy. I am so pleased to be bringing you guys a series of videos. There should be multiple videos in this series. This first one here on these float rigs and skill tree. Then, of course, we're going to be doing our spinning. And then we're going to be doing our bottom fishing, our feeder rigs. And then, of course, we'll be just briefly touching upon some of the information with things like the digging of bait and the making of bait and the construction of various lures. And so, without further ado, I am going to take myself off to do a little fishifying because, of course, I got a chance to go do some fishifying today. So, you guys have a good one. I hope you've enjoyed this little bit of explanation. Keep your eye out for the next one when we'll be dealing with the skill tree for these spinning rods. And I'm going to head on out of here. So, this has been Kachi, a.k.a. Dilakba for the English language team, with a sneak peek of some of the English language stuff coming from Russian Fishing 4. I will see you in the next one, and until then, remember, if you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly. Squatch.
Okay, guys. So that is what we had to show to you guys. Let me quickly put this one out and let me bring up the game again. I had to mute the game.
I have to.
Okay, let me quickly do the fixing here. Put everything back on my other screen. Oh. Don't enlarge, please. That one back. Launch it. Okay, guys. One more second, please. Well, I'll turn off the gain. Here we go. Let's see. Let's put that one back there. Put all of these on again. Okay, here we go. Now it needs to load the game. Yes. Awesome. Hey there, Davey. We are currently working on the English translation, buddy. And as you guys could see in that video, actually, let me grab the link of that video. So I can share it with you guys. So this video is made by Catchy, and I'm not sure if you want to do the honors, Gene. No, you're.
I think you should. It's already a part of your team.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So Catchy has politely. Oh, good grief! I need to tune down that a bit. I asked Catchy to join us and join me in helping out with bringing all the news to you guys, and he said yes. So Catchy's now part of Russian Fishing 4 as well. So please give him a warm welcome for that. Yeah, I'm indeed throwing switches and levers and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Okay. So, do you guys have any questions about it? As Catchy says, he will actually be making more videos about the translation. So today you guys got to see how it went for float, and soon you'll get a video about spin fishing, all the skills explained there. Then we'll get one with feeder fishing and all that kind of stuff. What it's already been translated. It's sometimes it's a bit of a rough translation, but yeah, I think we're quite happy with it, and we'll be testing it as well really soon, and then bring it to you guys. Everyone is congratulating Catchy at the moment. Good.
Well, to be
Yes.
honest with you guys, we are very happy with getting Catchy on board, because his expertise and his real life is tells a lot to us, and his help already being pretty big one, and we just started. So we are as happy probably to have Catchy on board as Catchy is happy to be on board. At least I hope so. Well, I'll probably surprise a lot of people right now. To be honest with you, the game is already translated 100% into English version. There are rough parts about it that we need to look at, fix, and hopefully pretty soon, my guess would be like within a week or two, you'll be seeing Catchy and a lady playing it already. And right after that, it will be released for everybody.
Yep. And I'm happy to have Catchy aboard, because he used to be my mentor, and now our roles are a bit reversed, but he's still teaching me a lot about fishing, so I like that a lot. Yeah, you guys are excited about it? Ah, good to hear, good to hear.
Alina Kira. That's all right. You just bought the wrong stuff. A lot of people who didn't understand Russian threw out a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I threw out a whole lot of things. I threw out my starting rod, I accidentally discarded my map. So yeah, you're not the first one happening to it. It will be funny to see Catchy translate Russian Fishing 4 to Dutch. I don't think Catchy's gonna do that job.
Funny.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, let's start shooting questions at me.
Shall I take the first one? So you guys got some time to ask. Steve wonders if there's a way so he can get involved with testing English.
We'll probably get to it once we know what we need. As of for starters, we'll definitely we'll be checking the language, the meaning of it, the placement, if it's in the right place to actually be to actually explain what it needs to do, and then we'll go from there.
And Jimmy wonders, what about the mouse situation for us that use multiple screens?
Yes, to be honest, we haven't looked at it yet. There are way more pressing issues that we had to deal with and still have to. As of right now, I would probably suggest to Alt-Tab once more, move your mouse to whatever screen it needs to be, and Alt-Tab back in.
Vania, could you be a bit more precise, mate? You're saying the bugs with the Bolognese while Bolognese auto catches fish. What do you mean by that, mate?
That means when he's holding a rod in his hands and there is a bite, hands will start basically raising the rod up. But it shouldn't do that anymore. Once we introduce pumping, that option was supposed to be switched off. If it's not, please let me know and I'll tell my guys to switch it off. questions
Okay.
that you
Yeah,
have there.
sorry, I was trying to fixing my my settings because I noticed my mic is again picking you up and it's driving me nuts. But okay, I had a question from someone in the Netherlands. We have a saying: "Wind on land, fish in hand," meaning if the wind blows in from the east, the bite rate is huge. Is that also happening in Russian fishing?
A play into where the fish right now.
Yeah. Give me a second. For some reason, you seem to be muted. Can you guys hear G now? And can you hear me? Oh, we're both back. Okay. So what? What
That's
G
gonna be
was,
hard to repeat. Could you do the honors, please?
Yeah, my bad there. So the question was, in the Netherlands there's a saying "wind on land, fish in hand," meaning that if the wind blows in from the east, the bite rate is huge. If that was the same case with Russian fishing 4, and you said yes, more like the wind pressure, that it indeed at times increases bite rate. Did I recap it properly?
Well, more or less. Well, to answer the question is yes. Wind dictates, not dictates, but has. Well, there's something wrong with my English today. I keep on looking for words. Wind has a big play in where the fish is. Once again, I'll try to explain that. So basically, wind moves the surface food base on a lake, on a river, to one point or another, to one shore or another. Small fish, fry or minnows, they follow that food base. Large predators, they follow minnows and fries. So yes, it makes a lot of different reasons to watch the wind and make sure you have to know where to cast, where to be, depending on where it blows.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, guys. It seems I'm a little bit tired, so it takes a little longer for me to generate the answer and find the right words.
No, it's okay. Let's see.
I'm actually pulling some monster.
Am I? Great. No, I don't have a rod. Oh, you are. Steve-O asks, will we be able to see other players on location, like it's happening on Fishing Planet?
It's not going to be implemented the way it is in many different games, not just that one. But yes, we'll definitely we'll figure a way out for to make sure that you can see your friends.
Yeah, and Steve, you also asked so that you could sort of copy the locations that other folks are catching in. I can comment on that already. This is not a fishing planner in a way where you have like a fixed set of time and you go to say this birch tree between say 3 and 5 p.m. on a sunny day and you'll catch fish species X. That is not how this game works. So yes, you can mimic other players or copycat other players, but it's not a guarantee that you'll get the exact same results because fish are migrating. And it's not like the same fish spawns for everyone. If for instance, there will be like, say, if we would drop like 100 fish in Mosquito and then 10 players caught like 10 fish each, that will mean that there will be no more fish in the lake. So this works a bit different. For instance, earlier tonight I was fishing on this spot and I was actually hauling quite a lot of tench. You could be fishing at this exact same spot and you could not be catching any tench. But you, for instance, could be catching, say, eel, or you could be not catching anything, and you would actually have to fish a bit further down here, say, for instance, where you would be able to catch the exact same fish.
It also depends. Let's say you're looking at somebody who just showed up at this lake or river and started catching whatever, I don't know, Arctic char. One after another. But the situation with you as a player could be different. You might be sitting there already for 2 days and catching them. So difference between his chances and your chances are pretty significant, because the player also has how do you call it? I hate to use word limit, but it's not limit, but a certain amount of fish per, let's say, hour that will generate for that player. I'm definitely explaining this wrong, but the more fish you catch at the same spot, the same species, the lesser chance for you to catch the next one of that species, at least in a certain time period. So let's say if you would give the spot a rest for like game day, right? Come back to it, it'll go back to being a pretty good catching spot.
Yeah. Let's see. Hook the Weed asks, oh, I got a big fish up here. Oh, look at that one. Self a
That's an eel.
That an eel?
No, I'm kidding. I don't know. What
he looked too fat to be an eel. Ooh, that is a nice sized bream. That's a bream, right?
Yep.
Wicked looking.
Oh,
yeah,
wow,
yeah.
Almost 3 kilograms.
Yeah,
Nice.
almost 3 kilograms. Yeah. And I forgot to drink wine. Good grief. Okay, well, let's quickly get back to the questions, because I noticed I missed already a couple of ones. Hook the Weeds, are they gonna change the way the keep net works? I mean, 100 fish is a bit unrealistic in terms of kilograms. So if I were to fill my keep net with these...
in real life, it's probably unrealistic, but let's not forget that we're actually playing a game. Yes, as much as we would like to implement some real life things, this is not one of them. This we'll consider this just a part of the game. Yes, we could limit it to kilograms, and then you'll start catching 1 or 2 fish and then run off to sell it, because it takes up everything. That's why we decided to actually go with the number of fish, not the weight of fish. Just wouldn't be comfortable.
Yeah. Yes, that might work for you. I actually translate bio because he asked if he could just speak in Dutch. He says, June, I've been working a lot with wind direction, and he says that he found out that if the wind blows from the north to the south, the catches are actually extremely good on the south shore. Is that
Yes,
holding
yes.
true for everyone?
That's exactly how it should be. Once again, the wind blowing from north to south, moving the food base on top of the water to the south. So fish follows the food base. Predators follow fish, and basically everything moves to the south.
Yeah. Okay, until one of you guys asks another question. A question that I've heard a lot lately. Can your character die if you do not eat?
Well, if you do not eat, you'll die. Character will be fine. Tell people, please take some time away from the computer and feed yourself, drink some water. Jokes aside, no. A character will not die, but it will greatly influence your ability to land good-sized fish. It will influence how fast you recover, how fast you'll gain energy, and you really need energy when fighting big fish. Of course, some comfort. You better eat than not eat.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think
It's like me,
especially
I
when you're spinning, spinning takes quite a lot of energy, especially when you're battling a big fish. So then I definitely recommend eating. A question that I received from players is that while they were spinning, and they noticed like their energy was really low, they pressed T to eat something, and while they were doing this, the fish will actually get off because there was no more tension on the line. Would it be possible to implement like a hotkey where that you can simply press and you immediately
Yes, we're
start to
thinking
eat?
about it.
Okay.
We're thinking about it, but as of right now, I would suggest probably to first of all have your character full before you start casting, and use some of the stuff that we use, like let's say drink 2 or 3 teapots or coffee. These things generate energy pretty fast.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think coffee generated a bit more energy than tea did, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It does. Not more, but faster.
Yeah.
That would be the correct. Here we go.
Since Willie asked, can we still only sign up with a Gmail account?
No, you can. As far as I know, I think you sign up with Hotmail, right?
I actually have no idea. And thank you for whoever just followed. Sorry for the ta-da message in between. I signed up with Gmail only. I do not have Hotmail. I'm not sure.
Actually, it's a pretty strange situation with all of this. We've been trying to figure out why this happens. It seems that some email service providers, and apparently it's like regional, local, not just Google or not just Hotmail, but some type of regional blocks with registration with us. I have registered probably 15, 18 accounts on all of different providers, corporate providers, Gmails, Hotmails, Yahoo. All of them went through, no problem. And some people actually write that they can't register with Gmail, but that already depending where they are. So no, you're not tied into Gmail. Once again, if registration didn't go through with your email, or you didn't get confirmation email verification, wait for an hour, hour and a half, and you can try to register with the same email once again.
Okay, well, so there you go. Actually, let me mute a bit of the sound. Let's see. Yeah. Because apparently right now I'm fishing in a thunderstorm. That's making it hard to hear the rest of you. You tried up sign
First
up
time
with
I heard
Hotmail.
those thunders, I actually jumped. Cheater.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys? So while folks are writing down their questions, I earlier during the stream I had a question about if we can look forward to a new body of water soon, because a lot of folks have reached level 20 plus, and they're still stuck with Volkov.
Yes, but guys, don't forget that leveling up in this game gives you only this much of experience in the game. Don't forget to look at your skill trees. Don't forget to, well, leveling up is not main thing in this game. Getting your character more experienced is, and skills, that's how you get your character more experienced. In terms of new lake, or let's say water body, as we already announced that a few weeks ago, yes, in September we'll be putting out a new water body, some new fish species. I believe 4 of them we showed already, right?
Yeah, sterlet, sturgeon, rut, and big head carp.
Big head, fat head, yeah. There'll be more fish species, new ones, but we just showed 4.
Yeah. Sleepy asks, have you considered having access to your game items, record, and gear through the R4 Game Online website to make it easier to gift? Let's see. Hang on, Sleepy, what are you asking there?
Yes, I understood the question, yes. So basically, Sleepy is talking about, let's say, having 2 stores. More or less identical to a store on a website where you don't even need to log in into the game to purchase something, and a store in the game itself. More or less, it will be implemented in that kind of way. Let's say just that for now.
Yeah. Okay, good. Kiosk asks or wonders, English follows German, or will the translation of both languages come at the same time?
It could come at the same time. It could come German, then English, or English, then German, depending on how fast will be done with whichever version. Once the version is ready to be released, it will be released. No one's going to be waiting for anybody. We don't have that type of don't release German because we're not in English yet, or don't release English because German is not ready. No, it's ready. We'd like our players to enjoy the game in their native language, or the language that they can understand way better than Russian.
Yeah. And Baya wonders, how come that if a fish bites and swims off with the bait and the line is getting tight, that the moment he picks up the rod or he puts in strike, fish can still drop the bait? Because in general, or in real life, you would sort of auto-hook the fish when it does that.
That is so not true. And trust me, I wish it was true yesterday when I was fishing with my son. We came across a huge perch school.
Oh, nice.
Nice perch, fatties. And my son was fishing with the bobber, and I was fishing with lures. So my son, he's just about to turn 4 years old, and he's sometimes too slow or too fast with trying to hook the fish. So I put up a little bigger hook to make sure that a small perch or a pumpkin seed or whatever would not swallow it too far, so I can actually get it out without injuring the fish.
Yeah.
So half of the time, if not more, perch would take the bait. He was fishing with worms and just drag it. While my son was looking how cool it is, the bobber is going through the water. So yeah, it's not entirely true. Fish can spit out anything, basically. Try fishing for trout. Trout can spit out lures.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If you didn't hook them right away.
Yeah, but they're also pretty shy.
Trout, oh, actually.
Yeah, well, no, shy's not the right word. They are how to say it?
Careful.
They are very careful. Yeah, that's one. Yeah,
That's
and
why
if
I
they think
love
something's off,
trout.
they'll not even put in a bite.
Yep.
No.
And a lot of times I've seen them just swim to a lure and pick it with their nose.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Muppet asks, any chance that we will be able to rebind the movement keys? I haven't used WASD for movement in 10 years because it doesn't fit my hand, and I really do not like games that have hard-coded key bindings that interfere with my style of play.
Probably in the future, not right now. We have to finish the game first. See what keys works for what, put them in, and then probably we'll be able to give you guys an option to move things around. But I wouldn't bet that it's gonna be anytime soon. So yes, unfortunately, the movement buttons will stay the way they are right now for foreseeable future.
Yeah. Let's see, any other question? Reeling this big purchaser, as she calls this. Bo wonders, why is coffee only good for one use? Because you got purchase an entire tin of coffee in the shop.
I'm sorry, again?
Why is coffee only good for one use? You purchase this entire tin of coffee powder in the shop, but you can only use it once.
Well, it's being used once to brew the coffee, the whole, how do you call that?
Yeah,
thing
brewing
where you
coffee.
put the coffee? No, the thing that's already, once you brewed it, it's in a can.
Yeah,
But
I
you
call
can,
it a flask,
there-
but I do not know the
flask,
correct
whatever.
reference.
Yeah, whatever. As long as we understand each other. But you drink it like, I think 3 times, right? Thermos, that's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
See, that's why I really, really like Catchy. He always has answers.
Let's see. Ta-da-da-da. Is the biggest fish of any species always a trophy?
Yes. Every species has its trophy weight. Be it bleak, be it broach, be it carp, or catfish.
Okay. That is a nice and quick answer.
Antagon, you can use coffee 3 times also. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, here. If I open my inventory, because I brewed coffee. Here we go. 3 out of 3. Can use it 3 times. Let's see. Are we, Joxer wonders, are we going to get any, are we going to get some kind of weather relief to buy in the shop? For instance, even a bag of trash bags, so we can cut holes in it to wear. And would that, because that would be better
I
than
like
getting
that
such a rain.
idea. The garbage bags with holes in it. Yes, there's gonna be a lot of different, well, not only clothes, let's say waders, boots and stuff like that that will influence
Your comfort
players'
level.
comfort, ability, energy generation, and some other stuff.
We could call those garbage bins, we could call them Joxer trousers, something like that.
Yeah. I've came back from a couple of fishing trips wearing that. Sleepy note of unique fish, you mean like some type of fantasy thing? We're trying to avoid it, at least right now.
Sleepy wondered if there were any unique type of fish. It's for the guys who will be watching this back, because I've got to put on the chat. Let's see. Bio wonders if the game is completely finished, will we also to be fish like in America, Europe, Asia?
When the game is completely finished?
Yeah.
Was that the question?
Yeah.
When the game is completely finished, we took over the world.
Well, that is a good question though. When do you consider to start put this game into full release? 'Cause right now it's beta mode. Do you have a point in mind where you say, okay, now we are ready to do full release, and afterwards will you be adding more stuff, or will you only do the full release when you got like full world domination?
No, we'll go into full release, not when we have 1,000 lakes and 2,000 rivers. No, we'll go into full release once we check every mechanic, I would probably call it that, of the game. So right now, for the 3 months, we've been testing and hopefully improving. The core part of the game is actual fishing, throwing lures, fishing, biting, and stuff like that. Next, we hoping in the very, very near future to introduce teams, tournaments, some competitive side of the game. We'll test that. If needs be, we'll fix it, we'll improve it, we'll adjust it, we'll adapt it. Once that is done, there will be economic part of the game added, or meanwhile, with together with teams. We'll see how it plays out. Once those major 3 parts are in the game, working properly, we could probably aim that after that we'll have the game in open release, get out of the testing mode, and just build. No, we will not stop. We'll keep on building not only content, but different options, different ways for you guys to enjoy the game.
You're getting all kinds of suggestions about water bodies now. Don't forget the water bodies in Florida. If you need to know some great spots in the Netherlands, give me a poke.
I do remember last time we were talking about lakes on Mars. So Florida is not far off.
Yeah, indeed. And I think that was either the first or the second Q&A. Wicked made that comment.
But
Wicked was
just
the
in
one.
case, I'm joking.
Yeah, we're not gonna do fishing on Mars, guys, or on Venus
Well,
or whatever.
not in the near future.
Let's see. Are we going to be able to use the canoes on some of the maps, like the ones that are on this particular lake, Old Fort?
Let me answer that a little vaguely, but I hope I'll give you guys an idea. The boats that you see right now in the game, they're here just to have boats. They weren't even supposed to be in open beta. So whatever is coming and coming not in such a distant future, you'll have more abilities, more ways to operate things, and more ways of doing in-game using those things. I'm sorry for such a vague answer, but I hope it just give you an idea that there'll be a lot of different options in the game in terms of ways you move around the water, and not only water.
Yeah, and if you guys like to know more about it, I suggest come back in a couple of months from now. In some time from now, we'll be able.
I honestly don't want to put any time schedule because I don't want to be called a liar. If let's say we say a couple of months and we won't do that in a couple of months or a couple of weeks or a couple of days, or I'm trying to stay away of promising something that I don't know when will it happen.
Yeah, I think that's a healthy attitude. Okay, let's see. Hooked wonders. Are we currently happy with are we satisfied at the moment with the state of the game and the feedback that we're currently receiving from the beta players?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. First of all, we never thought that we'll have so many players at this stage. And the amount of information that we're gathering by our means and by feedback from players is mind-blowing. And yes, we are able to test a lot more stuff than we hoped for. Sometimes a little bit more than we wanted to.
Yeah, Sleepy, I'm not gonna ask the question because you already know the answer to it and I already said it a couple of times. Bow wonders, will there be packs of hooks to purchase instead of just purchase a hook by the singles?
It might, as I believe we've discussed that, right, Lydia?
Yeah.
A couple of days ago. Right now, we're selling them in piece-by-piece basis to allow a player to allocate their silver somewhere else where it's needed. So let's say instead of buying a pack of 10 hooks for 30 silver, you can buy one hook for, let's say, 350, and you'll have another 25, 26 silver to spend somewhere else. Since we just all starting to play the game, we don't know yet how to spend our money as a new player who's not familiar with the game. We feel this is the right way. So having this option of either keeping a little bit silver in your pocket just in case, or using for something else instead of just 9 other hooks laying in your backpack. We feel this is a little bit I don't like it, but I have to say user-friendly.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's something that I've answered a lot during the past, what was it, 3 weeks of streaming, is that some players think that they cannot generate enough silver, at least not on a in their opinion, not on a good basis. How do you guys decide whether to meet them and tweak the settings, and when do you say no, we're gonna wait until we're gonna add new content that does it for us? What makes you guys decide that?
Statistics. We don't. When it comes to making silver, getting rich in a game, it's pretty hard to listen to each single player and his or her take on it, because some players expect to get into install the game, run it, come up to the shore, throw a worm into the water, and start catching hundreds of fish per hour.
Yeah.
Some players dedicate a lot of time to learning each water body, what bites, when and where, what they should use today, what they should use in this conditions or other conditions. The second type of player will always generate more silver than the first one. It will not change. This is what we're aiming for. We are hoping that our player, well, we understand we can't get everybody to play our game. Some people will like it, some people will hate it. It's absolutely fine. It's normal. Somebody loves Mercedes, somebody loves Ford pickup trucks. It's just matter of opinion and personal preferences. Same here. We're a product. We cannot accommodate for everybody. But we have set our minds on people that we are providing our product to. So basically our target audience. So our target audience is actually people who's willing to spend time learning what to do, when and how. Later on, it will help them with teams, with tournaments, with quests, with whatever else we're gonna put into the game. Mm-hmm. So we, once again, answering your question, if you expect to just enter the game and start grinding silver, it'll not happen. I mean, it will, little by little, way. It's gonna take a very, very, very long time. But if you're willing to enter the game, learn the game, give it a little bit of time, you will make your silver, you will progress with your tackle, with your level, with your skills. The further you progress, the better you will feel.
So would it be fair to say then that the main focus of this game is about learning to fish? Would that be a fair statement then? Instead of being number one in catching the biggest fish, or being the number one in making the most money, or being the number one because you're number one on the leaderboard?
The beauty of this game is you can find your niche and be good at it.
Yeah.
You want to be a record holder? Go ahead. But you'll have to learn. The main thing about the game is learning. Once you learn one thing, two things, three things, the more things you learn, the better your life, the easier your life is in the game. Once again, once we introduce tournaments, that knowledge will help you a lot.
Yeah.
You can't expect to get into the game that you don't know and win a tournament.
Yeah.
I think that would be foolish.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is a point that is something that I've been trying to get across to many of the players, because they come here with a mindset where if they throw enough either real life money to the game, or if they purchase a lot of high end gear, that they will become better and better and better at a faster rate, and then they'll be like level 20 in no time. Only to discover that once they put in a lot of money and they start purchasing gear, they could still not be able, they were not able to use the gear because they had not unlocked the skills yet. And that upset them actually a lot. And what I've noticed is that it's understandable when you got so many other games out there that are where the main focus is to or maybe not the main focus, but where most of the playstyle will be to reach the next level the fastest way, to reach the next progression or the next area the fastest way. And that is my clash when they come to this game.
We're not trying to become a casino. We hope that we're putting a fundamental to a very long and prosperous experience in the game for everybody who will like it, who enjoy it, and who'll stay with us.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Yes, Baya, we will have something like putting an auction house into to it, and other means of giving away your gear or trading your old gear with someone else. Let's see. Who could
Yes,
be
this part, selling, buying, trading, is we consider it an extremely big part of the game. So yes, it will be there in a variety of ways.
Yeah. Hook the Weeds wonders, are we not afraid that with an auction house, the gamer, quote-unquote, mentality makes sure that the prices will go skyrocket and destroy the complete economy? And what are we doing to balance that?
I don't understand how the auction house will completely destroy the game's economy. We have that for over 10 years in Russian Fishing 3. Economy is okay.
Okay.
Lady, are you there? Am I
Yeah,
here?
yes. Yeah, we're still here. We're still here.
There was a moment of silence.
No. Yeah, I'm still here. I got a whisper. Christian, I do not totally understand your whisper, buddy, but it might be that I've missed something here that you said in the chat, mate. The chat is going a bit fast for me at the moment. I had to scroll up. Let's see. Steve, yes, at some point there will definitely be something like sea fishing, and well, we just discussed, talked about selling gear. So yeah.
I remember there was a question in the chat about like 20 minutes ago. I wanted to answer it. Somebody was asking about having different seasons in a game.
Yeah.
At the moment, no, we're not gonna have different seasons in the game, but we will implement it in a little different way. We will have different locations that have their own seasons. So let's say there's gonna be like a North Mountain lake or a river where it's gonna be snow, cold, and windy. Or you'll be fishing at another part of the world where right now there's autumn,
Yeah.
or spring, and
Okay, it seems that folks in chat are still a bit concerned about auction. What if someone purchased all the cheese and then sell it on the auction house, for example? Is that not going to wreck the economy?
No, it won't. We built that part of the game foreseeing these type of situations. I'll try not to get ahead of ourselves with explaining that part until it's released, but no, don't worry about it. We designed it the way that it's not gonna collapse everybody on everything.
Yeah. So there you go. No need to worry. But it's good that you guys think along. I like it.
Once again, we have over a decade of experience with most of this stuff already with Russian Fishing 3. So we're not making our first game with the first time introducing auctions or trades. We have a ton of experience behind our back with those type of things. Tons of experience of fixing those type of things also. catching up to a user. So I'm not worried. Giving the scope and knowing the team who does it and their experience.
They're comparing Russian Fishing 4 to Blizzard, World of Warcraft.
You should not. We're nowhere near. We haven't
Don't nerf the dungeons.
Yet.
Well, I think one thing would be cool.
Go ahead.
Blizzard, sorry. They actually had when they had the 10-year anniversary, they gave to all their subscribers that subscribed for those 10 years. They actually gave them a real life trophy, shaped with the bull of Blizzard. That was nice. It was a nice thing. I think once Russian Fishing 4 is released, and like say a decade afterwards, we need to have something to spread
we'll
around.
We'll be having real life tournaments with real boats to give away for them.
That's gonna be cool. That's gonna be cool. Yeah, fish your way out of a dungeon.
I did that in World of Warcraft. Fishing in dungeons. I don't know if I mentioned that. I played a few good years World of Warcraft. Loved it.
You did not mention it to me, but I played it for 10 years as well. And there's actually an achievement where you have to fish in one dungeon, and then there's another one where you have to fish in a raid. And to get that achievement, you can't catch it anywhere else.
I remember that achievement of have to fish in a raid. And all the curses of everybody who's in the raid. What the hell are you doing? We're trying to kill the boss.
Yeah, indeed.
Someone's just fishing.
Yeah.
Oh, Ketchy was playing World of Warcraft also.
Yeah, he was.
I'm hoping one day I'll have time to get back to it. I kind of miss it. It's one of not many games that I really like.
They ruined it for me when they brought up Pandorian. That's when I left, and I came back with Cataclysm a bit. But yeah, I used to be a hardcore gamer, endgame rating, and I got upset. Yeah, me too. I used to. I got really upset because we were in the top 20 worldwide guild to unlock and defeat the entire dungeon, and then Blizzard would come along and they would nerf it, and then everyone would be able to just have a stroll through the dungeon and complete it, and that did not sit well with me.
Yeah, well, you have to be, how do you say, what's the word? Like, you probably should learn, be able to perform using different different types of methods. Yes.
Yeah.
Like I loved it. My favorite character there was Afterlock.
Oh, nice.
But sometimes they would nerf it so badly that I just couldn't perform for my team to get somewhere.
Yeah.
So I switched between Afterlock, between tank and healer.
Ah, nice.
That was my things. So whenever they nerf Afterlock, I would go into Death Knight Blood. I think that's how it's called in English. Or at some point we had like 4 tanks and 1 healer. So I loved the Druid healer.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah, myself, I
played the
was a
cat
hunter.
also.
At
I
least that
tried
was
that
my main
many times. Didn't get myself, so I don't know. I didn't understand the class.
Yeah.
That's probably was my biggest problem.
Yeah, they nerfed it and tweaked it a lot. So first you had to be what was it? Beastmaster, then afterwards you had to be, who was it then again? Survival was more PvP, but the other style. And then they switched back to Beastmaster because then you could use your animals to start tanking and all that kind of stuff.
Afterlock and PvP was always the best.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I suck at
And
PvP, so.
Druid Cat.
Yeah, Druid Cat was awesome. Yeah.
Love
For
that.
Yeah. Yeah, but only as DPS, not as a tank. The bear form, I did not like that one. Yeah, I was more like DPS kind of gal.
At some point, you couldn't kill the bear.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, they were invincible for a short time.
Yeah.
As well with, was it Paladins?
Not short time. Paladins were gone a long time ago. Pals were gone. And after Pals, actually, bears were the monstrosity in the game. Everybody was tanking with bears. Right before they introduced Death Knight Blood.
Yeah, I think so, indeed. Yeah.
Then at some point, the blood tank was. I remember I've been closing a lot of not the raids but dungeons solo with blood, easy. Like not even looking at my keyboard.
Yeah, indeed. Let's get back to fishing. Do you guys have any?
Let's get back to fishing. Yes.
Someone is not a wow hat. Nah. Just kidding, mate. Let's see. Do you guys have any more questions? Because I ran a bit out of my. Oh no, actually, there was one more question that I had here. Apparently on Russian forums, this was stated by someone that if you have, say, a 25 kilogram test reel, that you must equip it with the double amount of test line on it to avoid break of line and to get spooled. Is that true?
To avoid breakage of line. Let's try to get into physics of a reel.
Yeah.
The reference to, let's say, 25 kilograms that you see on a spool means only one thing, that it will be used effectively up to 25 kilograms of pressure on that spool. So it will stop at some point if, let's say, you clinch it. Is that the right word?
Mm-hmm.
You basically close it, right, fully. It'll hold without any damage to itself, without letting the line out of the spool. pull up to 25 kilograms of pressure, not the fish weight, because 25 kilogram fish can pressure your tackle way more than 25 kilograms. It's in the water, it goes against the water, it might go against the current, which will multiply its pressure, and it has its stamina, agility, muscle, power, which also multiplies. Whatever line you put in on a reel is only up to you and up to a performance you want to get out of that line, out of that reel, out of that setup, tackle setup.
Yeah.
Saying that you must put a 50-pound line on a 25-pound reel is extremely wrong. That depends what you're trying to achieve. Yes, it is absolutely not only possible, but pretty much doable most of the times on 25-pound reel, not the rod, reel. To land a fish of 40, 45, and 50 pounds, you'll get probably a pretty huge damage on that reel, but you will be able most of the times to land a fish way heavier than the, let's call it a test of the reel, right? At 25 pounds.
Yeah.
A reel is capable of reeling in heavier fish in terms of poundage, kilograms, than its test, right? It'll get a little more, not a lot more, but more damage, but it's powerful enough. And once again, which type of reel? We're talking about spinning reel or bait casting reel. Bait casting reel is way more powerful than spinning reels.
Yeah.
It is possible to get in a 50-pound fish with a 25-pound stopping power of friction brake of the reel. But it's only up to you to choose what type of line to dress on a reel, depending on what you go for. No one can tell you must or you mustn't, or this works and it doesn't. That's not true. Everything works, depending on what you're after.
No. Yeah, I think indeed what you say is that stating it the way that it was stated, that was a wrong thing. It's not like you must do that. It's indeed all about what.
Listen.
Yes.
If you going for, once again, I'm sorry to bringing out trout. Trout is extremely cautious fish.
Yeah.
It's highly unlikely that you'll catch it with a 30-pound line. It'll see it. It'll avoid it. It'll get a hell away from it. But if you have a 25-pound reel, nothing is stopping you from putting a 10-pound line on it or 8-pound line on it and go after that trout. But if you're going after, let's say, catfish, which we know right now, in somewhere within 60 kilograms, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere there. Last time I checked in records. You can use that 25 kilograms reel, put on it 70-pound line, 70-kilogram line, and you have a pretty big chance with the right rod of landing that 60-kilogram catfish, because 25-kilogram test of the reel does not mean that it'll automatically break if something of a 30 or 40 or 50-kilogram bites.
Yeah.
You'll have to maneuver yourself. You'll have to put yourself in a position by doing right things to land that fish, and you have that option. You definitely have all the chances.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's up to you to choose what line you put in and what you do with it. Yeah, it might need a little experimenting, but start low and get higher.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Nope. Baby Boo, thank you so much for the follow, mate. Much appreciated. And Baya wonders, why are we not using underlines? And I'm translating that like word for word. It's actually that you have a strong line, and then say the last meter of line is actually a weaker line that you've attached to it. A leader, yeah.
We do in some tackle setups, not in every one of them. Actually, where do we not use it? Most of the times, there is an option for you to use a leader. Either spinning and feeder fishing, I think there is always an option.
Yeah.
On a float fishing, it was I'm sorry, just a second, my kid just came down.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll just fill in then. But yeah, we already got leaders indeed, like Gene says. Let me actually bring out my feeder rod here so I can show it to you. Right here is where you be able to put on leader. Here I've got fluorocarbon leaders. We already got steel leaders as well. Now for float fishing, however, let me actually this one. What you will need to do is first up you need to have the skill unlocked. Somewhere here, I believe if I'm correct. If I'm not correct, please Catchy, give me a holler. But here there are different types of rigs that you can use and that you unlock. So this one is actually the hair rig, and over here you got the Bolognese rig. I'm correct, or was it that one? This was the Bolognese rig. Sorry. Now, if you press V, that opens the details of your rig, and then you click here, or details of your rod, sorry. You click on this one. Here you actually have the option to tie on different kinds of rigs. I think here there's also one that is about leader. Here you can see you got two separate ones, but this you'll need to unlock as you progress. So that is how it goes. What Bayer meant, Catchy, is why we were not using leaders, made out of just simple lines instead of the steel ones that you got for, say, pike fishing.
We'll introduce more leaders into the game later on.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as I remember correctly, the only rods that you cannot use a leader is bobber rods.
Well,
everything else.
Then he does mean he does mean something else, because I'm using on my bobber rod in real life. I'm also using say for instance I put like a 0.20mm line on it on my reel, and then the last meter or last meter and a half I'll actually have like.
Yeah, Larry, we all do that in real life, absolutely.
Yeah.
But once again, as much as we would like to keep reality in our game, sometimes it's just impossible to do.
Yeah.
Not because we don't want to, or because we are, I don't know. I mean, that would be stupid, right? Not to introduce something like that into fishing. But unfortunately, with game mechanics, with the game physics, and basically game options, sometimes this or that thing doesn't work with this or that tackle. At least with right now, the way game is constructed. So adding a leader, technically, we will address this issue in terms of breakage. Within a short period of time, we will make sure that lines that have leaders will break within the leader length.
Yeah.
Or a tackle that doesn't have leaders will have a breakage point, let's say before the bobber. So imaginary leader, that it will be there, but if we'll introduce the leader physically, it will break the
game mechanics
completely, completely break the physics and mechanics of that tackle.
Yeah.
So it is, let's say, easier and faster and way to address that issue. I understand where the question is coming from. Sometimes when you, not sometimes, every single time when you have a breakage fishing any type of a bobber tackle, everything breaks off. Hook, weights, and the bobber, the floater itself.
Yeah.
We know that. We will fix that. We'll make sure that it's gonna break before that. So basically, we'll have an imaginary leader on bobber setups.
Now, I think a lot of folks will be happy about that, especially ones that earlier, I think today during the stream, someone had he just purchased a new feeder curve and feeder basket and whole different type of sets, and he had a fish and it took off of it and it broke everything. And he was like, he was glad that it did not break his rod or his reel, but he was a bit upset that he had just invested this money and now it was gone. And he was like, yeah, but normally it would just break underneath the bobber.
Yes,
indeed.
It's absolutely understandable, lady.
Yeah.
We understand that it puts a player into, let's say, a financial hole, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you just started the game. So we're definitely addressing this issue.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure in future it's not gonna happen. Yes, guys, please don't forget that right now you're helping us to make the game better. The game isn't fully released. It's not the final version of it. You, as much as us, are making this game better. Your feedback, your experience, our statistics, all this information is being gathered right now to make this game better and make your time in this game more enjoyable. We're not here to rip you off your last cent. Please understand that. We're not after the money. Money will come once we make our product good enough so people want to pay for it. We understand that, and that's where we're striving for.
Okay, good. Do you guys have any more questions? Let's see, because we're already past midnight my time. I kind of like to wrap it up. Shall I do 3 more questions? And then wrap it up? Muppet says, why? Why isn't our money good enough for you? That's just rude.
It's always welcome. Absolutely. But we don't want to put a player in a position where we dictate that he cannot advance or do certain things without, let's say, payment. That's not our goal. Yes, if a player wants to achieve something faster, wants to get something faster, please go ahead. You want a stronger rod? We're not gonna stop you from buying it with your euros or dollars or rubles or whatever else currencies you have. But if you think you'll invest $10,000 into the game and you'll take all the first places, you were dead wrong. No, that's the place for more experienced player, and it doesn't matter if he put $1 into the game or $10,000 into the game or nothing at all.
Yeah, exactly. What Ketchy is saying, or Squatchcraft saying, your prime investment is time. It's not money. It's time to learn the game.
Yes, more or less like that. I would probably put them as an equal. If you don't have time, you can definitely invest money. Well, yeah, they're not equal. So yes, Ketchy is right. Money will never buy you an experience in a game, no matter how much you will spend. Experience in a game, that what will win you future tournaments, future record holders, prizes, and other stuffs like that.
Baya, that question, I don't even need to translate it. The reason that they increased the prices on the lamp bobbers is because folks started to hoard them. And, oh, good grief, I missed that one. And so it was actually cheap. It was too cheap. So last Saturday during the patch, the price of the light bulb wow, I start stutter here. Say that word a couple of times really fast and but the price of the lamp bobber will actually increased. So no, there will not be how do you say this correctly, Gene? It's not a decision that will be turned back anytime soon, I think.
I'm sorry, what was the question? I was actually reading the
You tried to make understand of the Dutch. Bios, he's asking in Dutch. So there used to be a light bulb bobber or a lamp bobber available. But now he is extraordinarily expensive. Is it not possible to get a cheap version of it? And I explained that
well, there is a cheap version of it.
No, it's
there is a cheap those light. No.
Here, the bob lamp.
Bob lamp, yeah. Catchy. What's the right way we call them? This one, yes. That's the cheap version. And it is cheap version. Of why they got more expensive? First of all, it was almost impossible to keep them in stores for everybody because people were buying them by hundreds. Once again, as of right now, our tackle breaks above the bobber instead of below the bobber. Yeah. So every time, let's say you hook something you cannot land, it'll break it off. So people started buying them by hundreds, thousands just to have them. I've seen a couple of streams where people, let's say, turn into teams. So let's say someone sees something in a store and the team is like 15, 20, 30 people. He buys for each and every one of them. Since he's already in a store, he has an option to buy it. He sees it. That's one of the things. So we wanted to make them luminous. Ketchy says.
Yeah, luminous, yeah.
Yes. That's one of the aspects why the price went up. The other aspect is with a luminous bobber, you have a higher chance of catching more fish throughout the night, which means you make more silver, or you have a higher chance of making bigger bank throughout the night, and that it can create a little disbalance in, let's say, how much you invest of your time against what you bring in from that time. So let's say you invest for silver. How do I explain it? Well, let's say it was a balancing act. It needed to be done. We had to do it for multiple of reasons. Not because we want to take your silver from you. No, we want you to progress through the game. But sometimes we have to make those calls that you as a player may not like, but we as a developer have very strong reasons to make. It's our reasons. We're the only one who see them, who understand them. From a player's point of view, it may look differently, but from a developer point of view, it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so just what we talked about earlier as well is oh no, let's just leave it at that. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, guys, final two questions that I'll be taking. So the first two that ask the question, you guys are the lucky ones. So if you got any questions, shoot now, or hold the questions until next Q&A. There will be more Q&A, so waiting a bit. Yes, that question did count, Muppet. That question did count.
Now one question. Since this one was answered. Nice, I just landed Cory char.
Ooh, nice, nice.
Almost 9 kilograms.
Ooh, lovely.
Actually, last week we held a tournament. I mentioned that to you and Will.
Yeah.
It was actually a first teams tournament. Well, a friendly one. Once again, a friend of mine, a streamer, a Russian streamer, did it on his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And they were, one team was carp team. Let's put it, let's call them that. And the other team was Cory Lake type of team. They love to fish with the lures. So yeah, one is a bobber team, the other is a lure team. Amount of fish they caught on Cory within a real hour was crazy.
Yeah.
I was sitting and looking at it. If you want, I can probably throw you a link to that tournament.
Oh yeah, I'd love to.
It's all in Russian, but you can just see how much fish they took out from Quarry Lake.
I think
Insane.
I think I
At
still
some
got you
point, I was
permitted.
sitting and thinking, should I cut the fish at Quarry Lake? It's like every 10, 15 seconds, lake trout, oh, Cory char, Arctic char, this and that. And there was only like, I don't know, like at best 50 people at that time.
Yeah. Let's see. First question up. That one is from Untragan. It's a timeline when the bug with the rods be fixed from always at the right. Untragan, I got a bit of difficulty understanding your question, but I think what you mean to say is if it's a standard given that when you're throwing out with
lady,
rods.
I understand the question.
Okay.
It seems that sometimes whenever Antragon casts, things fly to his right.
Yeah.
Or to the left. So there are a number of different aspects that can influence that. First of all, your skill of your skill of knowing that type of a rod, a cast, or setup. Secondly, you really have to double check your setup in terms of what's what. Let's say if you put a 14 grams bobber with 4 grams bobber with 5.5 grams weight and bait, it'll fly all over.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. 20 grams bobber with 0.5 gram weight, bait and hook. Wind, where you're casting against wind, with wind, the wind from east or west compared to you. There are a lot of things that can influence where you cast your rod. There is a little bug. I do remember on a weaving river. Is that what we're calling it these days?
Winding river.
Lady?
Winding
river. Yeah. Let's go that. Yes, at the Winding River, there is a little bug where you, I don't remember which side, I think you cast short towards east. Or something like that. We were working on that. But in majority, if you're at any lake, you have to pay attention to how you set your tackle altogether. Everything. Actually, maybe it's a good thing to use a calculator. And your skill level of handling that type of a tackle will influence a lot how you cast it, where you land it, and how you manage the fish on it.
Yeah. Antrake says, but I am full skilled. And he's still having it.
Then let me see your tackle setup. If
And
you're full skilled.
Even with a strong wind from the right, he says I'm still throwing to the right, so into the wind.
Antagon, once again, please send us lady, could you get the support email?
Yeah.
And please don't bombard us with just questions. This email is for bugs and problems in the game. But Antagon, in your case, please send the screen of your tackle setup, and we'll see where the problem is.
You sent me a picture already on Track, and where did you send it, mate? You send it to my Twitter, to my
No,
Facebook?
I think he means he will send it.
Oh, he will send it. Okay, cheers. Much appreciated. Yeah. Okay, and Mel, I'm 5'9". That's how great I am. Let's see. Final question was actually from Catchy. Let's see. Gene, you told me why we get bolo rods instead of match rods first. Could you perhaps explain it? Why that is?
I'm sorry. Once again, please.
You already explained to Squatchcraft, to Will, why we are having the opportunity to have bolo rods first prior to match rods. But could you please explain it for our viewers as well?
Oh yeah, that's because of the placement of water bodies in your development. Bowler rods are... Okay, let me start again. We had, what was it, two lakes in the beginning, right? So not to make it boring, the third went a river with a pretty high current. And that's where bowler rods are coming in very handy. Once you have bowler rod, and you can use bolo bobbers, floats.
Yeah.
That's what they for fishing in the current. So that's why Bolognese are introduced into the game at a lower level than, let's say, match rods, when you actually have to get, what was it, 18th, 20th level to start to actually...
Usage of bolo rods is actually 30%.
No, but you also have to have a certain level to buy them, to start buying them. So yeah, basically, not to keep you guys always at lakes, we introduced a river before anything else, and rivers with such a current do need bolo rods. So that's why bolo rods are sooner available than mesh rods.
Yeah.
Okay, lady, I'm gonna take a 30-40 seconds break, if you don't mind.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Bo Radley, mate. Either send it forward to me, or send it, please, same as with on Dragon, send it to support@rf4game.com. Include screens of the setups, include screens of your skills, of your skill points, and then we can have a look at it. Well, not me, but Gene and his support team and developers are gonna have a look at it and see how if they can find anything that is causing it. Because if you're maxed out like on Dragon is, then it should not happen, at least not to our understanding. Okay, guys. While Gene is doing his thing, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you all. Thank you all so much for joining tonight. Like I said, we will have another live Q&A in a couple of weeks from now. I do not know the exact time and date yet, but yeah, I'll definitely get back with more information. Quick recap, tonight we showed a video made by Catchy Squatchcraft. May actually bring it back up and link it to you guys as well, so you guys can have a look at it. I'll also make sure to post the no, let's put that one on mute. I'll also make sure to post the print screens of that video where you could see the flows. So I'll make sure to post it on the RF4 Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Google+. Let me already, by the way, also give you the links to all of that. So here is Twitter. Please do give us a follow. And here is Facebook. Do not forget to like us on that one. Let's see, let me grab Instagram. Here we go. This is our Instagram. And finally, let me also take Google Plus. And for Google Plus, please guys, if you would be so kind to follow us and join the community, because we need 10 people to join us before we can create a custom URL. It's obnoxious, but that's the truth. So until then, we are stuck with this entire huge ass filled with numbers URL. But yeah, it's annoying, and it takes a month before they'll actually agree to a custom URL. But please, guys, give us a follow on that one, both the community as well as our profile. Let me actually bring that one up as well. There you go, that is the profile of Russian Fishing 4. So yeah, Gene, we were wrapping up. I see the guys are already starting to thank you for the Q&A.
No, I heard everything. Just don't know what you meant by me doing my thing. I just want to get myself a cigarette.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, because you said that you had to take a break for like 30-40 seconds. So that's
in terms of talking.
Okay.
I had to come up with my kid and my 2 dogs and a cat and a wife, and they tend to yell at each other from time to time. So I have to mute myself.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Yeah, so that is it for tonight. I'd like to thank you. I will be closing the stream, by the way, as well. And I'd like to thank you guys all for watching. I think at some point we had even over 40 viewers, so that is nice. Have a good night, everyone. And Gene, thank you so much again for joining us and doing this Q&A. Much appreciated.
Lady, thank you for having me. Will, thank you for the support in the chat. And guys, thank you for playing our game. It was a pleasure.
Okay. And we are wishing you all a very good night. Have fun, guys, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.